Hello, and welcome to One Drop Flood in Set 4. One Drop Flood is a deck built specifically around a combo that lets you play a ton of cards in a single turn. Let me explain how that combo works. So, typically, before turn 3, you want to play a small Stitch. You have two options, either the Stitch Alien Dancer or the Stitch New Dog. On turn 4, you will shift on Rockstar Stitch. And then on turn 5, you're going to play Simba. You're then going to play Pride Lands. You will move Simba to Pride Lands, which will make the characters that you play cost one less. And then hopefully you will sing A Whole New World, which will give you a handful of one-cost characters. And then you can play them for free. And when you play them, because you have Rockstar Stitch in play, you may exert them to then draw a card, which then gives you another one-cost character, which you can play for free, which lets you exert them to draw a card, and that goes on and on and on until you play basically your entire deck. That's the goal. Then next turn, you will quest with all your characters and win. Within this deck, to achieve this ridiculous goal, we run roughly 32 characters. And you'll note that with the introduction of Set 4, we have a new addition to the deck, Phil, No Nonsense Instructor, which makes it every single time you play a hero character, you gain one lore. And wouldn't you know it, every single one-cost character in our deck is a hero. There is a faster way to get this combo off, and I've found that I can play this version more reliably during this set. Whenever you're going against a green opponent or a blue-red opponent, you can play the Pride Lands on turn 2. You can then play a Simba, or if you had the Simba already out, on turn 3 and move it to the Pride Lands, and then that allows you to immediately play a Stitch New Dog the same turn, or a Stitch Alien Dancer if you had the Simba out on turn 1. And then on turn 4, you can shift on Rockstar Stitch onto your Stitch, hopefully sing A Whole New World, and then it lets you play your entire deck. Now note, you don't have to play A Whole New World to make this combo work. It just gives you more ability to play more cards and less likely to hit a brick. Each single card in your hand can technically go infinite if it is a one-cost character, because the hope is that you play that one-cost character and it draws another one-cost character to replace it. If you draw any two-cost characters or more, or any of the actions or locations from our deck, then that single card stops going infinite, and then we have to choose another card in our hand to go infinite. So obviously having 7 cards to choose from makes it much easier to play your entire deck. We added Phil, but Phil does not change when we do our combo. It is, in my experience, not. I would not recommend trying to play Phil before you do the combo with Rockstar Stitch, mainly because that will cause you to delay your combo turn by a single turn, and you're already trying to play your combo turn as soon as possible. Doing the combo still gives you the ability to win next turn if your opponent does nothing about it. What Phil does is it locks the game in after that turn if they can deal with your combo, or if your combo turn wasn't big enough to win the game outright the next turn. You can throw down Phil and continue to play your hero characters and get the remaining lore that you need. We only need to run 2 copies of Phil in our deck because we'll be drawing so many cards that we will inevitably find Phil after we do our combo turn. Also, Set 4 gave us access to this new Stitch Alien Dancer, which I think is fantastic. It gives you more redundancy for targets to get in order to be played before turn 3 for your Rockstar Stitch to get shifted onto. And this new Stitch has 3 health, which is really nice for surviving things like Teeth, Boom, Let the Storm Rage On. There's a lot of 2 damage pings. Another thing that you might have noticed, I've warmed up to Chernabog a lot more. I think Chernabog's really nice in order for you to basically never run out of steam. If you play your entire deck and then your opponent clears the whole deck, you can play one Chernabog and then continue drawing cards from your deck. If that Chernabog then dies, you can play a second Chernabog and shuffle the first Chernabog into your deck, which keeps the cycle going basically forever. This does mean that whenever you are discarding cards with Simba, try to prioritize discarding characters and inking your bare necessities rather than inking your characters and discarding your bare necessities. Also note that I am running 4 copies of bare necessities. This card is kind of up to you. You can run 4 copies of bare necessities. You can run 4 copies of Be Our Guest. You can run 2 and 2. You can kind of mix it up. Whatever you think is more useful. If you find yourself not finding the characters, maybe Be Our Guest is better. I like having the bare necessities essentially remove cards from my opponent's hand after I play a whole new world. The same turn as the combo turn, which then lets me remove things like swords or be prepared or whatever I think is going to cause me problems. So on that note, the landscape of set 4, I've personally been fighting a lot of blue-red and a lot of green something decks, either green steel or green amber. And I think in particular to call out, the blue-red decks will basically always beat this deck. And I think the blue-red deck is extremely good and therefore will be extremely popular. And therefore, I have come to the conclusion, both from playing this deck a lot in set 3 and from playing this deck as much as I can in set 4 before this recording, that I don't think this deck is going to be competitively viable. I cannot in good conscience recommend you play this deck in something like a tournament. But if you wanted to play this deck casually or take it to a league, I think this is a fantastic deck to play. It's super fun, and as you'll note, it's extremely cheap to build the entire deck. So with that being said, I hope you like my explanation of the deck. It's gotten a little bit better in set 4, and it's always going to be fun, but I'm also going to take the opportunity here to edit the deck and save it as not competitive to make sure that I don't confuse anyone in the future thinking that this deck is a serious candidate for a tier 1 spot. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for following this journey of this deck. Maybe it'll get better next set, and if it does, I'll make another video. Bye.